This week in gaming, we got some huge news from the people over at Bethesda and Xbox, and is one that fans of Starfield and Redfall will not want to hear. I'm sure a lot of you have already heard, but it is true that both Starfield and Redfall got delayed. And what is up, guys? Andrew from the Denmen here, and today we will be going over the latest news related to the delays of these massive AAA titles and how this could actually be a good thing. There is a lot to go over, so let's not waste any more time and just get right into the video. Starting off, let's get right to it by saying both Starfield and Redfall got delayed to the first half of 2023. This means that there's no official release date for either of the projects anymore, and the earliest we can expect it is January of next year, but we will just have to wait and see what they have decided to do here. An update that Bethesda released on Twitter says the following: "We've made the decision to delay the launches of Redfall and Starfield to the first half of 2023. The teams at Arcane Austin and Bethesda Game Studios have incredible ambitions for their games, and we want to ensure that you receive the best, most polished versions of them. We want to thank everyone for their excitement for Redfall and Starfield. That energy is a huge part of what inspires all of us every day and drives our own excitement for what we are creating. We can't wait to share our first deep dive into the gameplay for both Redfall and Starfield soon. Thank you for your support." So what could this all mean? Well, the first big takeaway is obviously that both Starfield and Redfall are delayed. But the more interesting detail is that gameplay is coming for both games soon. The closest time that we will be able to see these titles is in less than a month on June 12th at Xbox and Bethesda's Game Showcase. I'd say expect something from these two projects at the showcase, even though they are not releasing anytime soon. Now, the delay itself is pretty bittersweet to say the least. On one hand, it sucks that we will not be able to get our hands on Starfield when we all expected to. It can be frustrating to see all these delays to games we want to play and lose faith in the developers that make the titles. But on the other hand, this is beneficial for the longevity of the game itself. I imagine none of us want to have another Cyberpunk or Fallout 76 situation where studios release unfinished games that have tons of glitches and are overall unplayable. Bethesda has definitely learned their lesson with Fallout 76 and are taking their time with Starfield to create a game that fans can enjoy. Now, Bethesda has always loved to release in this holiday season, so for them to decide to delay Starfield really shows the level of commitment that they are putting into making this particular game great. What gets me a little worried though is that instead of giving the game another release date, we got a window instead. And a release window says to me that Bethesda is really unsure of when Starfield will be in a good state to actually drop, which is a little strange because they seem so sure of the November 11th date all the way back of E3 last year. So for them to be that much closer with hyping it up from the end of the Starfield documentaries and preparing for the Xbox and Bethesda showcase draws a little more concern for the project. But for them to recognize that they needed that extra time gives me hope that they can deliver, so we will just have to wait and see on that end. This does, however, get me excited for 2023 though, because now there are a lot of heavy hitters just for Xbox alone. When you add both Redfall and Starfield to that 2023 lineup, it gets a little more clear on the amount of games we could potentially be getting. On top of both Starfield and Redfall, we have potential launches of games like Avowed and Hellblade 2. I'm sure a lot of fans have forgotten about Avowed because it hasn't really been in the limelight since it got revealed all the way back at E3 in 2020. So it seems like it has more than enough time for a late 2023 release and could possibly get some news on it at the showcase come June 12th. Obsidian has been a really productive studio for Xbox, and all reports say that a potential 2023 release date is in order, so it is definitely worth keeping an eye on. Just these 4 games alone could make for an interesting year, with one rolling out for each quarter. We already know that Starfield and Redfall are slated for the first half of 2023, so if they stick to it, we could potentially have Redfall in March and Starfield in June. As for Hellblade, it could slot into that third quarter area at some point, and Avowed could release as a November title. This would make for a great 2023 if everything goes according to plan. As for Starfield and Redfall, it is disappointing to see them delayed to 2023, but overall, it is better for the longevity of the games themselves. This is something that comes off as bittersweet for fans, but even though we will have to wait a little longer to get our hands on these titles, we here at the Denmen will keep you up to date on all of the latest news pertaining to these games. The Xbox and Bethesda showcase is right around the corner, so hopefully we get some new information on these games sooner rather than later. But that is all for me now though, guys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Comment any videos you want to see in the future, and I'll see you all next time.